Hey everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for another Mystery Mystic Monday reading. We all thought Scott Peterson was convicted and serving his life sentence for taking the lives of his wife Laci and his unborn child Connor. However, this past week we learned the Los Angeles Innocence Project has taken up the charge to parse through evidence to see if it will exonerate Scott. Their representation has caused a stir, and I figured, let's see what the cards have to say about all of this. Laci Peterson was 7.5 months pregnant when she was last seen on December 23rd, 2002. She was due to give birth on February 10th, 2003. Scott reported he left around 9:30 a.m. on December 23rd to go fishing in the Berkeley Marina. Relatives later reported that he had stated he had gone golfing. Scott and Laci's stepfather reported her missing on December 24th. Scott was immediately suspected in her disappearance and later in her death. It was discovered that he had had 3 extramarital affairs, with the last one being with his massage therapist, Amber Fry. He was simply not a likable guy, and a lot of circumstantial evidence convicted him. He was reportedly fishing for sturgeon in the Berkeley Marina, and in April 2003, Laci and Connor were found near those same waters. The reason the Los Angeles Innocence Project has picked up this case is because it is purported that Scott's civil rights were violated during the trial, with exculpatory evidence being omitted for the jury to deliberate. It was reported that a few days before her disappearance, Laci witnessed a home burglary, and Scott's defense team is arguing that she was kidnapped and her life taken to prevent her from reporting what she saw to authorities. There is DNA testing from the burglary scene they want to see and compare against the DNA evidence collected surrounding Laci's death. There's no weapon or cause of death in this case, nor is there direct evidence linking him to her disappearance or death. Yet, many feel the circumstantial evidence was enough to convict and sentence him to death. The death penalty was overturned in 2021, and now Scott is serving a life sentence out of Mule Creek State Prison in Ione, California. This prison, interestingly enough, is a sensitive needs yards, which, from what I gather, is what we now term protective custody, so maybe because he's high profile, that's why he's there. And it is the only one in the state of California that's designated solely for sensitive needs yards. So he moved from, I believe it was San Quentin, to this facility in Ione. Actually, it's only about 45 minutes, not even an hour away from where I lived when I lived in California. So let's go ahead and see what the cards have to say. And I'm looking forward to seeing if maybe we get some further clarity surrounding what happened. All right, let's get started. All right, so what we're looking at here with this part of the oracle reading is what were the circumstances leading up to Laci's death? Like, Spirit's willing to release who might have been responsible. What is the motive? Because motive can help you hone in on who may have done it. And also with regards to what may happen with this representation by the Los Angeles Innocence Project for Scott. We're just hoping that we gain some further insights. It's been a while since I shuffled this little deck. So I'm having a time. Spirit. Coin. Heart. And I'm going to try to keep it as objective as possible. Meaning that I'm just going to read the cards as I read them. Then we can interpret them as we need to. Okay, so now I'm going to move those up here. And we're going to dive into what we've got going on here. Now, some of this reading is going to be about what happened to her, and some of it's going to be about where we are today in 2024. All right. So we've got the Hag card that kicks it right off. And this is about a bizarre or malicious encounter. Okay. So this is about her, Laci, experiencing something that was causing fear, nightmarish situation, and a bizarre malicious encounter. So spirit is like right off the bat, there was something that was very fearful. She had fear preceding her death, and not just fear like right before. I'm talking about perhaps in the days leading up to it. The cauldron is about fertility, experimentation. I'm wondering if she may have started to get an inkling about what Scott have been up to. I don't know. I don't know if that's what that's speaking to, but this card here is about magical combinations and experimentation, and it's also about fertility. Someone feeling a way about her fertility, about her being pregnant. The Bell card, an awakening, beginning or an end of some important event, a warning. This is why I'm saying I feel like she may have been finding out some information. Things are not as what they seem. There could have been even, conversations, confrontations about such things. She could have even gotten a warning about, being careful. This card also, this Bell card, can symbolize what's going on in 2024, which is, it's a bell, like, tolling of the bell. Tolling of the bell from the LA Innocence Project. They want to, bring about the final answers to what may have happened. There's supposedly some new evidence that needs to be looked at. And now we have, the technology has advanced, right? Technology has advanced. We see that here with the will. It's like a progression. And so once and for all, we can finally really get some answers definitively on did he do it or not. Okay. The Will card also speaks to progress, someone wanting to venture into their own destiny, travel, and coming full circle. That's kind of interesting, right? Is Scott coming full circle with this? This could be back in 2002 where someone physically moved her. The Will card is about transport. It also is about, symbolically, about someone who is trying to venture into one's own destiny. They're trying to move on. They're trying to move forward in their life. Now, this is interesting to me. The I card is about bearing witness to something. Now, I've always firmly believed that he did it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I remember the case like it was yesterday. We didn't live very far from where it all transpired. As a kid, I used to hang out at the Berkeley Marina. So this was near and dear to those of us and I was also pregnant around the same time that Laci was. So in my mind, he was always the one. However, this card is interesting to me. I feel like there's going to be more coming out about her witnessing a burglary. And we've heard about that this past week, that there could have been some, that maybe someone wanted to keep her quiet. To me, that feels like a far reach. I'll tell you why. Like, you're going to take a pregnant woman's life over witnessing a burglary, a home burglary? I don't know. It just seems like a far stretch. But I feel like this card is symbolic of that being like the thrust of what their argument is going to be. Like, there was someone, like, she witnessed something. She witnessed a bizarre attack or a bizarre burglary or encounter, and because of that, she lost her life. The reason I'm saying that also is because of the coin card. Now, the eye card is also about knowledge. Someone having knowledge about what was going on that she was experiencing in the days leading up to her death or her disappearance and her death. Someone who is alive and well to tell the story. Could that be Scott? What could lead credence to her actually, yes, witnessing this burglary is this coin card. Because this is about materialism, money, something of value, prosperity, and gaining a better position in life. But I feel like there's a lot of cards on the table here that says that this is not dealing with this burglary here. This was a matter of the heart. At the end of the day, this was someone who has strong emotions, who knew her, who at once had love for her. This could also be about her heart being broken. It can be about her actual organ of the heart being somehow affected at the time of her death. This is something that wanted to shield the heartbreak here. So what I'm taking away from all of this is, yes, she did witness something. She did witness this strange encounter with the home burglary. Yes, that is something that was oddball. Someone heard about it. She told about this to someone, and she was planning to go to authorities to toll the bell. But Spirit is like, be careful about going down that track, because at the end of the day, it was something to do with the heart. And someone had to protect with this shield card. They have to protect what was really going on here. The shield card is about protection. It is about preservation, self-preservation, a defensive mechanism, a defensive barrier. There's a lot of people who feel that Scott was wrongly convicted and or at the very least, his rights were violated. And then there's many people on the other side that say, no, he did do it. And yes, the circumstantial evidence proves that. But I get a sense that whoever did this was fully aware that she was birthing a baby that was going to change the course of things. Someone needed to move on. They needed to progress forward. And as a result, they were protecting their progress forward. So take that as you may. I just feel like we're going to hear more and more about this burglary, her bearing witness. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it's going to be the cold, hard evidence, this, new technology that's going to once and for all speak up on what really happened. And I understand that the Los Angeles Innocence Project picks up cases that they feel that they can exonerate. But I am curious to know, what about the cases that they are not able to, like, in fact, like the evidence comes out, the DNA evidence comes out that it actually reaffirms someone's conviction. I don't know much about it. I plan to do a bit more research about their results of the cases, the prior cases they've dealt with, and how, do we hear a lot of news about the cases that actually reaffirms someone's innocent, not innocence, but their wrongdoing? And what is their track record? I hear it's like in the tune of like 300 cases that they've helped exonerate since starting. I don't know. You all can correct me in the comment section below. All right, let's continue. We're going to continue with the oracle reading. I'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to look at the shadow aspects, shadow emotions or feelings or thoughts or actions surrounding what happened to Laci or what's going on now. We have accusations, abuse, maybe accusations of abuse, accusations, we have trauma, we have drunk. Shadow aspects of this case. From all accounts, I heard that they had a good marriage, Laci and Scott, but there was some, I guess, issues with maybe finances. I mean, clearly infidelity. I don't know about like their actual dynamics. Like if they were in a, behind closed doors, was there like arguing and carrying on? Awkward. Okay, so we have here accusations, abuse, trauma, drunk, grudge, absent-minded, envy, and awkward. Does any of these cards to you all seem like this is someone who has an intention of covering up? Like what I mean by that, like covering up a burglary, meaning that they never really met Laci before. To me, no. To me, this feels like someone who knew her, knew of her, held a grudge, could be envious of her, wanting to cause trauma. This abuse card, yes, that could be one encounter, but typically for me, when a card like this comes up, this is symbolic of something sustained over time. An assault is one thing. This feels like over time. There's accusations. Now, accusations could be founded like, okay, I'm accusing you of something, and then it's confirmed. It's confirmed. Or it could be false accusations. I willingly or knowingly am spouting lies. Okay? Or it could be accusations that people really believe is what's the case, but it turns out that evidence proved otherwise. I'm sensing that there's accusations here, and at the end of the day, there's some merit to them. Someone had a grudge. Someone got caught slipping. This could be Laci's energy, absent-minded. not really understanding the grave danger she may have been in on the day, leading up to her demise. Envy. Could it be one of his lovers? To move her pregnant body, I would sense that it would take someone with some strength to do that and to put her in the water. So for me, I'm sensing a male, drunk, was someone who was involved having a drinking problem or drunk on lust, was someone acting awkward around the time of her disappearance. Perhaps somebody was envious of her lifestyle, or they were envious of a lifestyle, and that this is what all came about. This is what all came about. She sustained some sort of trauma, and she was traumatized right up at the time of her death. Like, this makes me very sad. Like, she knew right before it happened what was going down, and it just is heartbreaking. Absent-minded is that, she just had some faith that it was all going to work out, that, maybe she had it wrong, but at the very end, it became crystal clear, no, she didn't have it wrong. She was in danger. Someone had a grudge. Accusations of a grudge. Yeah. I'll be back. All right. Spirit, what can you share with us about who did this alone? Who did this? Why? How? Bank records? Clues on who may have done this? What may come of this reinvestigation? Isolated. Oh, that's sad. Isolated one person is what Spirit is trying to point me to. Burial or grave. Ooh, I wonder if that means they might try to... Oh, I hope not. Suffocation. Oh. That they may try to exhume her body. I pray that that's not what that's meaning. Look at this. Jail or imprisonment. Investigation, investigator, PI. Okay. Outside. Collapse or ruin. Oh. I mean, and the thing is, Sky has nothing to lose with this. He's got his life sentence. I mean, he's no longer on, death row. So having, the Innocence Project, or, LA Innocence Project do this, I mean, there's no skin off his back at the end of the day, right? Everybody already thinks he's guilty. So any chance of looking into this further, why not? That's the energy I'm picking up from him. But it's a question of, did he actually do it? Or has something to do with it? House. Oh. Karmic connection. Accident. Oh, goodness. All right. So I'm going to set these off to the side for a moment. And we're going to go through these cards. Okay? We're going to do that. Let me scoot this down a bit so y'all can see it. I was just using my Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle that I made. It's a 160 card deck. So we've got alone, isolated. This right here is telling me right off the bat, she was alone at the time, and whoever is the perp who did this on their own. Okay? There's not multiple people involved. I have cards in this deck that represent multiple people's involvement. Like I have a card that says 3 or more, or 2, or, accomplice, or this, accessory after the fact. I have cards that would denote if there were multiple people involved or in the know about what happened to her. But Spirit is very clear, wants us to understand whoever is responsible, this was isolated. They did not commit another crime. They did this on their own. She was on her own. That's what I'm sensing with these two cards here, okay? Then we have bank records. From what I gather, bank records would have hold the key. Bank records can demonstrate a number of things. Bank records can demonstrate the health of someone's financials are, right? How are they doing with their debts? How are they doing with their savings? Do they have savings? What did they spend their money on? Bank records can also spell out where were you, because purchases are tracked. Purchases are tracked, time of day, location of where the purchases happen. It can show a path. It can show her records. It can show the perpetrator's records, okay? Bank records were key, and they still are, just so you all understand that. They were key in the original investigation, and they will be key now. I'm assuming that perhaps maybe in part of the circumstantial evidence, bank records were something that were heavily considered. We have burial or grave. Now, this could be either something is buried or in the grave and will be resurrected. This could indicate a desire to exhume her body. I don't know. I hope not. It's almost like, let her sweet soul just rest in peace. But it simply could be symbolic of something that's the truth being buried, or shrouded in a lot of mystery. And now things are going to be unearthed. And now we are going to once and for all really understand and know what happened. Suffocation took my breath away, literally, no pun intended at all. Literally, I just, whoa. This is what I was feeling like earlier when I was doing the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, where I was feeling like for a moment she thought she would be fine. And then just at the very end, she knew like this was it. And it was up close and personal. Someone took her breath away. And yeah, that can cause your organs to shut down. And it doesn't necessarily leave like physical wounds, right? In the sense of, and this is interesting to me, like, because her body was so decomposed, you're not going to necessarily see, strangulation marks. You're not going to see the windpipe being crushed. You're not going to see that. She was in the water for months. And so it's not like a gunshot wound, like, where you would see a gunshot wound to someone's skull, for example. That would be clearly, even after several months of being in water. Whoa. Oh, okay. Jail or imprisonment. Now, this simply could just symbolize that, we have someone in jail. Scott, right? Could totally just symbolize that. But it also could be like, yeah, it's Scott. Okay. It's Scott. You all tell me what you think that the jail or imprisonment card is saying here. To me, I feel like it's saying, and my intuition is saying, they got the guy. But I could see how some people would look at this and say, well, no, they may have gotten the wrong guy. And that is Scott being wrongfully convicted. For this card to be sitting next to the suffocation card, I don't know. It just screams to me that somehow, some way he was connected to her death. Okay? That's my opinion, and he is convicted. I don't have to do the whole disclaimer of, everybody's entitled to, their day in court, because he had his day in court. Now, whether or not it shakes out that his civil rights were violated, that's to remain to be seen. But I don't think that out of 160 cards, this coming up is an accident here, right? Investigation. This could simply just be speaking to the LA Innocence Project, looking into this whole home burglary with sitting over the house card, exploring if there's outside connection to what happened. I do sense that there is credence to, I do sense that that she did see something. She did witness a burglary. Did those burglars have anything to do with her death? I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. I don't know. That's just not what I'm picking up on energetically. But this card did come up. Now, this card could also symbolize that it may shake out later, that it might be that they're looking at this all over again. It's not going to just be the Los Angeles Innocence Project got eyes on this. You're going to be the armchair sleuths looking at this. There may even be people poring over the investigation records, looking at, okay, what happened or what happened inside of their house in the days, hours, moments before her disappearance. There could have been some critical evidence that was there that will be looked at again. It won't just be the Los Angeles Innocence Project looking at this. So there's that. There's that piece. This could be also that maybe something happened in the house. Remember, we had the will card about someone being transported. She didn't just end up in the water. Now, I did read somewhere that there were a witness account of seeing her maybe like a day or so before her actual reported disappearance occurred, like by the docks. I could be mistaken. I thought I just read that, but you all let me know if you know more about if she was actually seen in Berkeley in the days leading up to her disappearance and ultimately her death. But there's something about the house. There's something about the house. Now look at this, karmic connection. Karmic connection for me can denote you are on a karmic collision with someone or someone's. It also, many people believe in karmic connections being related to an intimate partner. And we got the outside card and collapse or ruin. I want to talk about these in just a moment, but my eye drew to the karmic connection. Like Spirit is like, if you have any question about this, it would be someone she has a connection to. Like someone's connected to her, she connected to them. Sure, I guess the burglars could have been on a karmic collision with her. I don't know about that. Outside, again, like I said, I feel like the investigators are trying to see if there was someone outside of Scott who did this. But maybe this collapse or ruin is like, I don't know if you're going to get there. I don't know if you're going to get to a place of exonerating him. This could all collapse Or not. I don't know. Maybe this card does affirm that there is somebody outside of him that did it. This also could be that there was key evidence that was outside, maybe on the boat or around the home outside, not necessarily just inside. And then finally, accident. I feel like whoever did this is telling themselves that this was an accident. They didn't mean to do this. They didn't mean for her to die. They didn't mean for this to happen. And that's how they assuage their conscience. That's how they sleep at night. That's interesting. That's interesting. All right, I'm going to pause here. Oh, before I pause, collapse or ruin. We have jail and imprisonment. I mean, seriously, his life is over. His natural life will be in prison unless he's exonerated. So, this in and of itself is like, okay, he's there. That's it. That's collapse. That's ruin. But it also could speak to, since it's in this row of cards, like their plan to try to exonerate him may collapse. All right, I'm going to pause here because I have about 4 questions to ask the tarot, and I'm going to try and fit it all into this one video. I'm going to shift the cards around so we can make room for the tarot, and I'll be right back.